Mr. Edit Man presents. What is the stupidest thing you did as a kid to try and look cooler? In the 2nd grade, I thought it would be cool to record a song on a cassette tape and basically make a shout out to everyone in my class. It went something like, "Hey Alex. How ya doing Sam? I like your shoes Colleen. etc." I made the teacher play it in class. Less than halfway and I realized I had made a huge mistake. Longest 4 minutes of my childhood. When I was a kid in 2nd grade, I saw all the cartoons with blind people who had grey eyes, and I thought that looked insanely cool. So, I knew the sun could make people blind. For about a week, I would stare at the sun for 10ish minutes riding the bus to school in the mornings thinking that if I did it just right, I would get grey eyes, but not go blind. I was the only boy at a girls' pool party. I thought it'd impress everyone by jumping into the pool while spinning like a damn top or something. I did not jump far enough out and my chin came down on the concrete ledge of the pool. Blood everywhere. Party ruined. Stitches required. 20 years later I still have a weird mark on my chin. When I was in 6th grade I randomly scribbled what I thought looked like adult signatures all over my notebook. I then told my teacher that my mom knew the Lakers basketball team and these were all their signatures. Thinking back I realize that the scribbles looked nothing like signatures, but it was nice of her to play along. I molded a paperclip to look like a retainer and wore it to school. All the cool kids had dental work in 4th grade. Walked through the mall jingling my 2 house keys as if they were car keys in an effort to look older. Yup, dumb. When I was 14 I went to Walmart with my mom so I could get a new game that came out. I finished my purchase but did not want to wait for my mom to shop. She gave me the car keys and I walked back to the car swinging the keys around my index finger and whistling. I got into the passenger seat of the car, turned on a classic rock station, and rolled down the windows. I felt so cool. The first day of the 5th grade I thought I needed to look cool because I was finally an upperclassman of elementary school. So, my solution was to walk down the hallways pretending to count on my fingers all day. I thought showing off my counting skills would surely make me the coolest kid. Yay. Along that vein, I started 6th grade when all my neighborhood friends were starting 5th. When I got off the bus one day after school and they were all hanging out outside, I went over and showed off my cool 6th grade homework. Real slick. 3rd grade. I felt it appropriate to go to school dressed as Sunny from Miami Vice. White blazer, sleeves rolled up, pink pastel shirt, white pants, complete with pennies in the loafers. Forced to remove my sunglasses. To this day I do not know why my mom let me go to school like that. Though I was hot malarkey. Looking back, I know why I was made fun of. I got on my bike tied it to a ducking tree and then pedaled as hard as I could. Went over the top of the bike and busted the hell out of my face. Not entirely sure why I did this, but my friends were egging me on something fierce. Good friends. Well, a little older than kid, but being the age where the doctor starts asking sexual questions. I was having a standard checkup and the "Are you sexually active?" question came up. So I responded kinda, "Is that a yes or a no?" To which I sadly replied no. Crimped my hair. Duck you Lizzie McGuire. Fell going up the stairs at school and tried to play it off like I was relaxing or taking a break in the middle of a flight of stairs. More than a dozen liver-strong bracelets and associated knockoffs up and down my arm. At least some of the money went to charity. At 4-H camp, cool kids decide to ditch the motivational speaker and go night swimming. I follow, deciding I too will be cool. 5 minutes later we hear yelling and a camp counselor coming our way. We all run to the dorms and I hide under a bed. The camp counselor finds us and advises us to go shower as the pond was actually a waste treatment lagoon. While showering one of the cool kids looks at me and turns to his friend saying, "Who is that guy?" His friend responds, "I dunno, I think he tagged along to be cool." Guilty as charged. I was always, when I was younger, obsessed with superheroes. I came up with myself. Whenever I went to preschool, and oftentimes kindergarten, I would show up wearing a cape, a bright yellow knit balaclava, it itched like hell, and a cowskin print vest and sometimes chaps. I do not even know what sort of superhero dude I had come up with, but I was always convinced it helped with the ladies. Walking backwards. 4 weeks. You did not walk backwards alone, friend. Up and down stairs. Through doors. And I was especially upset when I was not allowed to face the other way in class. For the life of me, I cannot remember why I did it. Michael Jackson was cool as duck moonwalking. Criss Cross was cool as duck wearing clothes backwards. Everyone who wore their bull caps backwards was smooth mother duckers. So backwards must equals awesome. In 4th grade I thought that if I intentionally answered an easy question wrong, I would get some laughs from my fellow classmates. So one day we're learning geography and my teacher asks, "Now 255. Is Pennsylvania on the east or west of the USA?" I thought to myself, my time to shine. And I stupidly answered the west. Dead silence. Nobody had laughed or even chuckled. "No 255, it's in the east. But good try." Oh hell no. Good try was not enough for this stupid little 4th grader. I needed laughs, and I needed them now. So I did the only thing that I thought could get me a reaction at that moment. No, and then I slammed my head as hard as I could on my book. I guess I just wasn't not at all funny to anyone back then. Because there was still just silence. Needless to say, I just kept my mouth shut for the rest of the day. Oh man, I had almost forgotten about this one. I was in 1st or 2nd grade and had a somewhat inflated view of my own intelligence. Naturally, I wanted to make sure that all the other kids knew how smart I was. Most days, for one reason or another, the teacher would have to send the class somewhere one student at a time. Whenever she did this, she would pick them in a random order. While this was happening, I would mutter numbers to myself. And every time someone was picked I would nod my head wisely, as if by muttering numbers I was predicting who would be next in line. I cannot remember how long I did this. I was a special child. I buried a shotgun shell in the dirt and tried to explode it using a hammer and nail. Thankfully it failed. We would put a shell on the ground, hide around the corner of the shed, and shoot at the primer with a BB gun. When I was younger, all the cool kids in every single one of the cartoons I watched would always have slicked back hair and sunglasses. So, one day during recess in kindergarten, I pushed my hair back and closed my eyes and started walking around the playground because I thought that sunglasses would have that same blinding effect. I walked around the playground with some swagger in my walk, expecting all the kindergarten hosts to be like, "Wow, that ICR 97 guy is so dreamy." But that did not happen, of course. And I ended up blindingly walking into the jungle gym and getting a bruise the size of a goose egg on my forehead. I was a stupid kid. In the 3rd grade at a Christmas play I thought it would look cool if I was being bothered by a fly. I have no idea how I came to this conclusion. In the middle of a song I pretended to look confused and started swatting at an imaginary bug I pretended was flying around my head. A few people in the audience kept looking at me funny but no one said anything to me about it. Much later I found out the play was recorded and sent out to everyone's parents. The cameraman actually zoomed in on me the whole time I was thrashing at this fake bug. When my class saw it, my teacher pointed out that there are not usually any flies around in the middle of December. My classmates treated me like I was mentally challenged for quite a while. In hindsight, maybe I was ... When I was about 6 or 7 years old, we had a school assembly on name calling. The teacher giving it introduced by asking which students had nicknames and what they were, etc. Before moving on to talk about the difference between nicknames and bullying, I always wanted some cool nickname. I remember one of the kids going to the front of the hall saying his name was Red Ranger or some malarkey because his name was Jason, like the Red Power Ranger, and I was incredibly jealous. In my idiot small child brain, I thought if I make up a nickname now and tell the teacher in front of everyone what it is, everyone will start calling me by that name, and I'll have an awesome nickname. I guess I did not have much time to think. And that combined with being a small child / moron meant that the best I could come up with was Megasting. So I went up and said in front of the teachers in the room and the whole school that my nickname was Megasting. I told my family when I went home that I had a nickname and that it was Megasting, and as any good family would do, they have never let me live it down since. I'm 24 now. I insisted on wearing a full suit to the state fair and carried around a little folding fan. I also wore lots of black turtlenecks and bought books based on their length so everyone would see me carrying around a giant book. I was a weird kid. No matter how heavy my backpack was, I would only wear it on one shoulder, with the strap super long, because it was insanely uncool to wear it in any way that would not cause me pain. Now that I'm old, I wear on both shoulders. Straps pulled snug, waist and chest straps engaged, and maybe even with a camel back. 14-year-old me would be so ashamed. One day when I was in late middle school, I was walking down the hall and some girls behind me called out, saying, "Hey, did you know that Katie likes you?" Katie was a very attractive girl. For some reason, I instantly said out loud, "Well, you can tell her I do not feel like I'm mature enough really to be liking girls. I do not want to be with any girls until I'm older." I then walked away with a smug as malarkey look on my face, as if it said something brilliant. To sum it up, self-sabotaged myself in middle school. I wore those sneakers that flashed. I was the coolest methodica in town. In 3rd grade, I was envious of my friend who had glasses. I thought he was cool, so I thought having glasses would make me cool. Later that day, I convinced my mom I could not see the blackboard at school. She took me to the eye doctor, whom I also convinced I had a hard time seeing. It was surprisingly easy back then. He fitted me with a prescription that made me wince with pain when I wore them. Eventually I got used to it, and now my eyesight gets progressively worse with every new pair of glasses I get. The worst thing is that the kid I idolized was not even cool. He was an exact replica of Milhouse, and eventually left school because he was bullied too often. Guess who took his place? I used to swallow change pretending it was a magic trick. Another magic trick is to like and subscribe. And poof, you will get more videos by Mr. Reddit man. Holy malarkey, man. Holy malarkey. In 1st grade I was trying to impress my brother and his friends. They were in the same class, and I had no friends. So I was doing the same magic trick by putting a few coins on my tongue and saying ah. I have no idea. Do not ask me. When my tongue came back in, I started choking on the coins. I staggered around for a second, then immediately threw up on this girl in my class. The worst part is that I got accused of stealing the coins from that same girl. It is painful to look back on it. When I was in 2nd grade, I tried to impress this one girl I really liked by giving her the swing I was on. Of course, that was not good enough. I had to jump off the swing too. So I jumped off and landed on 2 feet, but my momentum carried me forward and I went straight into a nearby tree, breaking my right arm. Later, when I got a cast, I thought I could still impress this girl by being badass and getting a pink cast. I was made fun of by all my guy friends for months. It paid off though. She's now my wife. As for myself, I was really fond of Harry Potter when I was in early middle school. So every morning in the toilets, even before meeting any of my friend and all, I draw a thunder-shaped wound with a pencil to leave a red mark. I thought I looked cool when people ask me what is it, and I answer I would not like to talk about it. Now it feels more like an oh god why memory. You have made it until the end of this video. Now listen here, and listen here closely. Like and subscribe for more curated content from Mr. Reddit man. Thanks for watching.